There's a strange intimacy to a voice that comes from nowhere. It slips through the hiss between radio stations, surfaces in the tail end of a voicemail, or peaks from the dead pixels of an abandoned chat room. These are the moments when technology, designed for clarity and connection, betrays us with something else, the suggestion of presence where no human claims to be. Welcome to the world of faces in the static, where electronic voices and digital hauntings reshape how we think about ghosts. For centuries, hauntings have worn familiar masks, fogged windows, cold spots, the creak of a floorboard. In the last 100 years, new encounters have migrated into the circuits. Early in the 20th century, radio operators reported hearing voices in the white noise between stations. Some dismissed these as technical interference. Others believed they were catching fragments of other people's calls, a phenomenon called cross-modulation. But a persistent few began to interpret these intrusions differently, as messages from beyond, slipping through a medium that had become porous to the dead. The practice that most directly tied the occult to electronics is spirit communication via radio, later evolving into what parapsychologists named electronic voice phenomena, or EVP. The basic method is deceptively simple. Record a silent space, then play it back at higher speed, lower pitch, or with filters applied. Often what emerges are syllables or words that the ear did not register in the moment of recording. Skeptics point out pareidolia, the brain's tendency to find patterns in noise, and the power of suggestion. Yet the experience can be unnerving. For those who encounter an intelligible phrase where none seems to exist, the line between coincidence and contact becomes morally and emotionally charged. As technology advanced, so did the haunts. Answering machines picked up phantom messages. Automated telephone systems relayed garbled voices at odd times of night. Online, abandoned forums and chat logs preserve the digital traces of people long gone, and those traces are sometimes reanimated by bots or unintended software behaviors. In each case, what was once a domestic or technical malfunction acquires an eerie quality when interpreted through the lens of mortality. There is also a philosophical dimension to these digital specters. The modern self is increasingly distributed across devices and data. Photos, emails, voice recordings, all outlive the biological carrier. When a loved one dies, their social media account may continue, their voicemail may remain accessible, and their voice may echo forever in archived files. We build libraries of artifacts that can be replayed and rearranged, and sometimes those artifacts conspire to create the illusion of presence. Is that a haunting, or simply the persistent footprint of a life? The answer depends on how we relate to memory and how deeply we feel the absence. Artists and technologists have taken these ambiguities and turned them into deliberate experiments. Sound artists splice white noise into quasi-vocal shapes. Programmers feed old chat logs into learning algorithms, which then mimic styles of speech so convincingly they can be mistaken for the original author. These projects force a reassessment. The uncanny effect is not only in unintended glitches, but in our capacity to manufacture the uncanny on purpose. If a machine can reproduce a voice so well that it elicits grief, then the boundary between simulated presence and actual memory becomes ethically fraught. At the core of this phenomenon lies a very human truth. We are pattern-seeking creatures who hate the void. Static, silence, deletion. These are intolerable. A whisper, even if accidental, fills that space and offers consolation or dread. Whether one believes in spirits or in statistical fluke, the encounter prompts reflection about mortality, technology, and control. Electronic voices force us to confront how we archive our lives, and whether artifacts of connection are a comfort or a cruel prolongation. In the end, faces in the static are both mirror and mask. They reveal our longing to be remembered and our fear of being replaced by a facsimile. They remind us that as our lives migrate into circuits and clouds, the dead may not lie quietly. Instead, they might return as the flicker between channels or the murmur filtered from a recording. The question is not only whether the voices are real, but what we will do with them when they come. Embrace the echo, interrogate the source, or finally let the static fall silent.